This begins Chapter 3, Lesson 4, dealing with estimating sums and differences. But before we get into that, let's look over and see what you remember from the previous lesson. So we're going to round 8 and 4,302 ten-thousandths to the nearest tenth. Is it A, 8 and 4 tenths, B, 8 and 43 hundredths, C, 8 and 44 hundredths, or D, 8 and 5 tenths? And your answer is A. Now we're going to round 9 and 6,452 ten-thousandths to the nearest thousandth. Is it A, 9 and 65 hundredths, B, 9 and 646 thousandths, C, 9 and 645 thousandths, or D, 9 and 64 hundredths? And your answer is C. Hopefully you were able to figure out it was between B and C based on just how I read the numbers. Now we're going to round 1 and 257 thousandths to the nearest hundredth. Is the answer A, 1 and 3 tenths, B, 1 and 26 hundredths, C, 1 and 25 hundredths, or D, 1 and 2 tenths? And your answer is B. Now we're going to round 8 and 186,172. Oh, I don't even know what place value that is off the top of my head. To the nearest 10,000. And I'm not even going to try to read these for you and slaughter them for you. So is the answer A, B, C, or D? First of all, find the one that goes to the 10,000ths place, and then see which one is rounded correctly. And your answer is D. I'll give you extra credit points if you can come in the next day and tell me what place value that number, the top number, is. So if you can come in tomorrow and you can tell me what place value that is and you're correct, I might give you some extra credit points. So now I want you to round 8 and 239 thousandths to the nearest hundredth. Is it A, 8 and 2 tenths, B, 8 and 23 hundredths, C, 8 and 24 hundredths, or D, 8 and 3 tenths? And your answer is now, the average retail for a price of gasoline in Texas during the week of March 13th, 2006 was $2 and 283 thousandths per gallon. Round this to the nearest cent. Is it A, $2.30, B, $2.29, C, $2.28, or D, $2.27? And your answer is we love to be paying $2.28 again for a gallon of gas. Alright, so now moving onward, today what we're going to do is we're going to estimate the sums and differences of decimals. Big thing to make sure you play a part of is just making sure you're keeping track if you're adding or if you're subtracting. So the vocabulary you have today is clustering, where you're just going to change those to the nearest group that you have, and then you're going to do what's called front-end estimation. And front-end estimation means you take either the tens or the hundreds and you just add those numbers up. So, the table below shows the population of American colonies in 1770. Estimate the total population of North Carolina and South Carolina. We don't really need super duper exact numbers, so if you look, North Carolina has 197,000 people, and South Carolina has 124,000 people. So we're going to round each number to the nearest hundred for easier adding, and that's what clustering is. So that'll round to 200, that rounds to 100, and so we have about 300,000 people in North Carolina and South Carolina. So that's just your clustering. You just round it to the nearest number. That makes it easy for easy adding. Alright, so using that clustering concept, the table below shows the population of the American colonies in 1770. It still shows them. Estimate the total number of people in Pennsylvania and New Hampshire. New Hampshire has 62 and 4/10 thousand people, and Pennsylvania has 240 and 1/10 thousandths people. So is the answer A, 300,000, B, 400,000, C, 500,000, or D, 600,000 people? And your answer is A. Pennsylvania, when you add, if you do 240 plus 60, that gives you 300,000. So now we're going to the same colonies, the same year. We're going to estimate how many more people lived in Rhode Island than in Georgia in 1770. So Georgia has 23,004 and Rhode Island has 58,002. So we're going to find the difference between Rhode Island and Georgia. So we're going to round 58 to 60, and we're around 23 to 20 because those are easy numbers we can subtract in our head. But the fun thing about estimating, as long as you write down what you changed the numbers to, you pretty much can't get it wrong. So there was about 40 more thousand people living in Rhode Island than were living in Georgia at the time. And ironically, because now the populations have flipped because there's just more room in Georgia than there is in Rhode Island. Now the table below shows the same population of the American colonies. We are going to estimate how many more people were in Massachusetts than in Connecticut. So Connecticut had 183 and 9/10 thousand people, and Massachusetts had 235 and 3/10 thousand people. So is the difference A, 50,000, B, 60,000, C, 70,000, or D, 80,000? And your answer is B, 60,000. So if you change 235 to 40, and Delaware you change to 30, you can just subtract the difference. Oh, I'm sorry, Connecticut. My bad. Alright, so now we're going to use some clustering concepts. So Sid feeds a vitamin water solution to his guinea pigs. The table shows the amount of solution the guinea pigs drank over a period of 4 days. Which is the closest to the total amount of solution the guinea pigs drank? Is it A, 40, B, 60, C, 80, or D, 100? So using this clustering concept, we are going to, if you look, they're all close to 20. So we're going to round each decimal to 20. And then when we add those up, you get 80. So when we go back and look at the answer, a good estimate is 4 times 20, or 80, and so that would make it answer C. And that's all clustering is. It's just clumping them all together, which is the closest. Alright, so during the month of February, Jonathan spent $14.78 on gas the first week, $15.35 on gasoline during the second week, $15.24 on gasoline during the third week, and $14.97 on gasoline during the fourth week. Which is the closest to the total amount Jonathan spent on gasoline during February? So looking at all these 4 different quantities, I would probably cluster them all together in the $15 range. So is the answer A, 35, B, 50, C, 60, or D, 100? And your answer is C, because 15 times 4 will give you 60. Alright, so now we're going to use front-end estimation. So we're going to estimate 14 and 8/10 plus 55 and 9/10 using front-end estimation. And all we're going to use is our tens place. 10 plus 50 equals 60. All it is adding the front-end digits. It's super slick. So now, estimate 32 and 7/10 plus 65 and 1/10 using front-end estimation. Remember, you're going to just add your tens place together. So 30 plus 60 is 90. So rounding means we're going to round to the nearest whole number that's easy to add and subtract mentally. If we use clustering, we're going to pick, it's good when you're using close numbers that are all really close together. And then front-end estimation is adding or subtracting the value of the digits in the front place. And that concludes your lesson.